We've done a lot of projects with our XTOOL's P2 CO2 laser, but today we're doing something big. So today we are going to be testing out the XTOOL's P2 roller feature. But before we get started with that and get all of that set up, we're gonna do the first part of the project with the laser as is. So let's get started.
What I love about XTOOL is they have a really wide variety of materials available through their website, so it's really a one-stop shop for all your laser needs. Today we're going to be using a few sheets of their 1/8 inch acrylic in sort of a beige color, but they have a really wide selection of other acrylic to choose from, so definitely check that out if you're looking for some unique acrylic sheets for your projects. I'll be sure to put a link in the description for you guys. I'm going to jump right into the XTOOL program and get started with this design. The program that XTOOL offers is so simple to use, which makes it really easy when creating custom projects. The camera on the interior of the P2 laser makes it extremely easy to place the design onto the working piece, and from my experience, it's very accurate. On the back of the flyer that comes inside the package with the acrylic sheets is the guidelines for the acrylic. So since I'd like to cut these letters out, I'll be using the suggested settings for the P2. This is super helpful and eliminates a lot of guessing and trial and error. So once I finish adjusting all the settings, it's time to make the first cuts. Okay. So according to the program, it's going to take a little bit over 12 minutes to finish all of these cuts.
So the first cuts came out incredibly well, super sharp, super precise. XTOOLs really does a phenomenal job with acrylic. But I still have a few more letters to cut out to finish what it is we're going to be writing. This is not it. It'll be different organization of the letters. Drop in the comments what you think it's going to be, and we'll see if you're right. So let's get the last letters cut out and keep rolling.
Alright, now we are going to work on setting up the last few things for the acrylic part of this sign. I am really impressed with how clean these cuts came out. Every corner and edge came out super sharp and precise, and the recommended settings worked flawlessly.
So we just finished cutting out the second part of the acrylic part of this project with the XTOOL P2. This laser is so incredible. I absolutely love it. It's super easy to use, and the software that XTools has to use the machines is really intuitive and user-friendly, and it's always just an amazing experience using this laser. So now we're gonna dive into things that are a little bit more complicated. We have to set up a few accessories that are going to give us a super wide capability with this laser. So stay tuned as we set everything up.
So this is the XTOOL riser base, which is what we're going to be assembling next. This accessory allows larger items over 8 inches high to be placed inside of the working area, such as boxes, etc., and is an essential part of what we'll be setting up next after we're done building the riser base. The riser is also great for using the rotary accessory from XTOOL. So here it is, all set up and ready to go. The bottom tray can be slid onto multiple rails depending on what you're working on, which is nice. And there's even some storage on each side of the riser, which I thought was a really convenient feature.
So we just finished setting up the riser right here, and now we're gonna set up the conveyor belt from XTOOL. And wait until you guys see what this accessory is capable of.
Alright, before we get started, I just have to show you guys the view that we're working with right now. How incredible is this?
Just want to let you guys know this thing is super heavy, so wish us luck. A little bit of grape juice to give us some extra strength.
XTOOL has a video guide on how to set up the automatic conveyor feeder, and I highly recommend following it to install it. It's not very complicated, but there are a lot of key steps you don't want to miss. Okay, here it is. Setup is complete. Now we can extend our working area from 36 inches to 90 inches, depending on how many rails we set up. For the next part of our project, we are going to dip into our plywood supply and grab a leftover sheet from one of our previous projects. We are using the Craig saw guide to cut the plywood. This is a super handy tool to have, and we've used it quite a bit on our projects on the ranch.
ready to go. So we finally got everything set up and ready to go. We're fighting pretty hard against the sun. It's like really sunny right here. So we're gonna load in our first piece of plywood over there and show you guys what's up, how this conveyor feeder works, and the results of what we plan on doing. So let's get this piece in and get started.
After we insert the plywood in between the rollers, it's time to adjust the pressure of the rollers. There's a little gauge on the central roller right here, and by rolling the knob on the side, you can increase or decrease the pressure. XTOOL has a chart on their website that shows the suggested pressure settings depending on what materials are going to be used. Okay, so this next step took quite a bit of time, but I think it was worth it in the end. I designed the log pattern by using Canva and exporting my design as an SVG file. This is a great way to use designs and patterns on Canva with the XTOOL program and easily adjust or change them in the program. So I'm using a few tools to remove excess areas of the design to help eliminate some of the time it's going to take to engrave everything. I'm also verifying the size of the sign and the designs to make sure everything will line up well and has good spacing.
So this is a pretty complicated design that I just did. I used a mix between Canva and the XTools program to try to figure something out and try to design something that wouldn't take too long, because the first design that I did said that it was going to take between 7 and 11 hours to cut, so didn't want to do that. So I adjusted everything as best as I could. Everything's set up, and we're gonna give it a go and cross our fingers that it turns out. We'll see, and so will you.
Alright, I have to say, this conveyor feeder is really a cool accessory for this laser. As you can see, it's pulling the plywood through the machine with no issues at all. One thing I will mention is you do need to have about 10 inches of extra room at the bottom of your design so that the rollers have something to grab onto. The conveyor feeder allows you to create designs up to 118 inches by 19.6 inches, which really expands the capabilities of what you can do with this laser. As you can see, this is why you need that extra 10 inches of space at the bottom of the design.
All right, just got done. It took a little bit less time than the computer predicted that it would, so that's pretty cool. So let's go over here and check out how everything turned out. So that was definitely the hardest part that we had to do right here, and the longest. Now I'm going to cut the frame out of this piece, and then we're gonna do a few more cuts to do some cool layering effects. So let's continue.
Okay, now we are cutting out the design. And again, the XTOOL software offers some amazing features for cutting things out with the conveyor feeder. So stay tuned and I'll explain more once it's all cut out. Okay, so let's explain about the tabs feature. So when using the XTOOL software to cut out designs using the conveyor feeder, the software gives you the option to create tabs. This basically leaves tiny sections of the material uncut so that the design doesn't fall out and mess everything up as the conveyor is moving the material back and forth. You can see an example of that right here. The software allows you to choose how many tabs you want and the thickness of each tab. For this design, I did 8 tabs at 0.5 thickness. And after the cuts are made, the design can be removed and popped out pretty easily.
So as you can see, the first part of the sign came out beautifully. Super happy with the cuts and the engraving. So now what we're gonna do is work on basically a frame that's gonna go around this and the other part of the sign that's gonna go in the center right there. So that's next. Stay tuned to see how that plays out.
Next up, I'm going to cut out a few layers to create a frame for the sign and also work on the lettering. To make it easier for us, I'm going to engrave the letters on the sign so that way it'll be a million times faster and easier for us to place the acrylic letters accurately. That way I can be sure they are centered, level, and have good spacing between each letter. I also did the same thing with the frame and the centerpiece, so the placement is engraved onto the design to make the placement way quicker and easier, and to make sure it's centered well. Of course, I had to show you guys the views from our house as we cut out this design. How incredible is that? I cannot wait to finish building so we can chill in our living room with these views.
All right, we just finished cutting out the last part of this sign. So we're gonna pull it out, take the pieces that are cut out of the design, and then go on to the next step, which is painting. So let's get this one kind of set up and then we can go from there. So we finally finished, everything is cut, everything is engraved, and we are ready to finally put together this sign. So we have all of our materials over there on the table, and we're just gonna work piece by piece and stack all of the layers together to create this amazing sign. So let's check out what we're doing.
As you can see, by engraving the outline of the frame, it makes it really easy to place the frame and the center letter backing and takes all of the guesswork out of making everything centered. And we're going to do the exact same thing with all of the letters. And the final reveal. I am so happy with how this sign turned out. The conveyor feeder and the XTOOL software made creating this super easy and fun, and I'm really looking forward to making more custom designs for our shipping container house. I have some really cool ideas, and I'll be sure to share them with you all in the future.
So as you can see, the sign came out absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with the results. All thanks to the XTOOL's P2 CO2 laser. I really love this laser. It's super high quality. I love the program that you use to do all of the designs and drawings and all the accessories that are available for this laser. Today we used the riser and the automatic conveyor belt, which was really cool. It really opens a lot of doors as to what you can do with this machine. So as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to click the exclusive link in the description if you guys are interested in picking up an XTOOL's P2 CO2 laser for yourself. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.
Help support our channel by leaving a comment, liking, and sharing this video. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with our projects and adventures on Pacific Pines Ranch. We put out new videos every Saturday and sometimes even during the week, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any. Okay, bye.